What is vascular cognitive impairment, also known as VCI, and how does it relate to vascular dementia?
VCI is an umbrella term that refers to a whole group of diseases of the blood vessels or the heart that can affect the brain. So it's not a single disease. It's a condition caused by alterations in blood flow to the brain, and this injures the brain and prevents the brain from being able to think or process information properly.
My name is Christine Telker, and I have vascular dementia, which I was diagnosed about 9 years ago with.
My name is Paul Lee, and I am a person living with vascular dementia, and I live well.
Christine and Paul are just two of the many Canadians living with vascular dementia, which is one form of vascular cognitive impairment. Everyone's experience with this condition is unique, from the symptoms they experience to how they cope with them. In this video series, we'll explore what vascular cognitive impairment is, the factors that influence it, and hear stories from those living with it.
I had to make a choice. Either the illness had me or I had it. And so if you have control of it, then you will have an easier time finding and accepting the ways to help yourself. You're taking control back when it was just taken away from you.
I'm not a quitter, and you know the old saying, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Well, with me, it was try. You know, 1 year later, I'm still trying. But I don't quit, I don't give up.
Vascular cognitive impairment, also called VCI, refers to any level of cognitive impairment caused when the brain doesn't receive enough blood. We will use it as a catch-all term that includes both those with dementia and those with milder symptoms. These symptoms may or may not worsen over time. This range of experience, from mild symptoms to dementia, lies on a spectrum of cognitive impairment. This spectrum starts with mild symptoms. This means you're noticing problems with your memory and thinking, but no one else is particularly bothered. If these symptoms get worse, then other people might start to also notice changes. At this point, you might also perform poorly on cognitive tests from a doctor. The most advanced stage is also known as vascular dementia, at which point you're having trouble doing important daily activities. However, for many people, vascular cognitive impairment never progresses to the point of vascular dementia.
Dementia is the symptom, and underlying that symptom there can be different causes. By analogy, dementia is a symptom like the cough, and VCI is a condition like the cold. It's something that causes the symptom. There are other causes of dementia too, though. One of them is Alzheimer's disease, which is another common disease.
Many people think of dementia and Alzheimer's as the same thing. But dementia is simply a term to describe symptoms related to memory and thinking that affect daily life. It can be caused by many different diseases. The most common of these is Alzheimer's disease, thought to be caused by a buildup of proteins in the brain. Vascular issues are the second most common cause of dementia. This is called vascular dementia.
The reality is that both these diseases can exist in the same brain. And so you have people who have both causes of dementia in their brains, and these are the people that we describe as having mixed dementia.
Now, let's focus on two issues with blood flow that can lead to vascular cognitive impairment: strokes and small vessel disease.
So a stroke happens when blood flow to part of the brain is suddenly, abruptly cut off, and this causes specific portions of the brain to die.
There are many types of strokes. Often, they are sudden events that can cause rapid brain damage. However, vascular cognitive impairment may also develop slowly over time. The most common cause that develops slowly is called small vessel disease.
Well, small vessel disease refers to the very tiny blood vessels of the brain, and they play a critical role because they're almost like little valves that regulate the amount of blood that goes into the brain when the brain needs it. If those valves are rusted or sticky or not functioning, you don't get blood where it needs to go. That could lead to lack of blood and damage to the brain.
Everyone's experience with vascular cognitive impairment is unique. As we've discussed, there is a wide range of severity, and not everyone with vascular cognitive impairment will develop dementia. However, there are common symptoms that many people experience.
So the classic symptoms of VCI are problems with memory and learning, so having trouble learning new things, having trouble remembering new things. The other piece of it is a general slowing of cognition, so taking longer to do things than you used to, not being so quick on the draw when it comes to, say, answering a question or tackling a new problem, and difficulties with organizing and planning important aspects of your life.
It feels like there's part of your brain that is telling you what you need to do, but the part of your brain that actually wants you to do it doesn't connect. So it's very frustrating because you know, but you can't.
I had a massive stroke back in 2010. Started in 2008. I had memory issues, confusion, losing things, and I'd fall. Because I got confused. This didn't happen once, it happened quite often.
It's very common for it to affect gait and balance, meaning that people's walking might slow down, that they might be vulnerable to falls.
It affects not only my cognition though, it affects my balance, it affects my coordination, it affects my vision.
Every person's journey with VCI is going to be different, and it's going to be different because of their own unique sets of risk factors, the kind of damage that they've built up in the brain, and their own genetics and the environment that they live in. A risk factor is basically something that you have that makes it more likely for you to develop a particular disease.
In the next video, we'll learn more about getting a vascular cognitive impairment diagnosis and the factors that increase your risk of the condition. There are many ways to prevent vascular cognitive impairment and slow its progression, but the basics are simple.
So one of the most important things that we've learned in trying to prevent and reduce the progression of VCI is that it all comes down to controlling your vascular risk factors. And that's really good news because vascular risk factors are also what causes heart disease. So it turns out that what's good for your heart is also good for your brain.
In the third video of this series, we will talk about living with vascular cognitive impairment and some strategies for managing the disease.
You know you're going to have difficulties, you know you're going to have problems. You just have to be persistent and take your time. Those sort of things give hope that you can live a normal life and you can still make a contribution to society. You can be you.
In this video, we discuss the basics of vascular cognitive impairment and vascular dementia. We covered the following. Vascular cognitive impairment is caused by issues with blood flow to the brain and refers to any level of cognitive impairment. Every case of cognitive impairment is unique, and not everyone's symptoms will worsen to the point of dementia. Dementia can be caused by either Alzheimer's disease or vascular cognitive impairment, and refers to cognitive issues that affect daily life. Stroke and small vessel disease are common causes of vascular cognitive impairment. The common symptoms are wide-ranging, but include issues with planning and thinking. Progression may be slowed or prevented by controlling vascular risk factors.
I have the greatest life. I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous. I have the best life I have had in I'm 64. This is the best years of my life right now. And I could have got swallowed up by my illness and I could be saying something totally different. But I can absolutely tell you, I wouldn't change a thing in my life right now. And my illness has actually brought a lot of joy to me. Is it nice to have? No. Does it make life difficult? Yes. Do I have a lot of challenges because of it? Absolutely. Does it mean I can't have the best life ever? Not a chance. Not a chance.